Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and start. So I have made a commitment to go on live every day. I took a day off yesterday, but I took the day off of everything yesterday. I wasn't interested in doing anything. But there are multiple things that I want to talk about. So one of the topics that I wanted to talk about is the kind of cult-like nature that I have experienced being forced to be around these gang stalkers and having to be forced to be in a recruitment situation. And the second thing that I want to talk about today is just kind of going through things that I've mentioned before, which are best practices for people going through gang stalking, and things that I want, things that have helped me significantly. You know, I definitely feel that there's a component where I don't want to take people too far too quickly, especially because for me, it took months to come around to certain things. But there are things that I think that are basic enough that will be helpful and that'll show significant benefit that I do want to share. Let me talk about kind of my experience, what I've gone through, and the cult-like environment that I have experienced. So, firstly, the person who gang stalked me, his name is John Ferreira. And I actually had a profile written out of who this person is and how I see them, how I view them personally. Now, this is, you know, I'm usually a person who can see good in everyone, and I just can't find anything good about this person, and that's just the honest truth. Even if there were no gang stalking involved, outside of that, I just don't see any good in this person at all. This is a person who refers to themselves as a chief handler. This is a person who takes pride in hurting other people. And I think this has been a very distasteful experience because I feel like I've just experienced pure evil. And I feel raped by the experience. I feel raped of my innocence, raped of my purity. I feel just by experiencing this and knowing that this is out there, it has just, I am forever not the same. Okay, the best way to describe it is like just not wishing you never met someone because of what they did. It wasn't the impact of what they did. I can heal myself from almost anything. It's been a person that has been so unlikable, so distasteful, so evil at their core, and that truly believes that they have a semblance of hope of hiding it, and they do hide it from other people. But for me, it's been the experience of like, I feel like I've experienced like Satan. I feel like I've experienced the devil. It's been awful. This environment. So I came in contact with these people because of my ex. This particular branch is a Latin branch. These people recruit for the cartel. John Ferreira and his gang recruit for the cartel. They recruit drug mules, amongst other things. I'm sure he has other clients as well. I think John is known as a gang stalker and an occultist, a spiritual witch doctor, essentially. Now, I'm from the Caribbean. Witch doctors are not something that I am unfamiliar with. Like, we're very familiar with that sort of thing, with that sort of practice. Usually, you stay out of these people's way. You don't cross paths with them. You're fine. You guys coexist, you know, separately. The other thing as well is that usually, from what I understand, because, you know, again, coming from a small island, like you do kind of tend to find out a lot about this stuff. From what I understand spiritually, people kind of do their homework, and they tend not to go into situations where it's going to be a fight, where it's going to be an uphill battle. From what I know, usually, people like this, they want to get in, get the job done, and go. They're not looking to be in a 2, 3, 4, 5, 10-year battle, spiritual battle with anyone. I'm a very spiritual person as well. Nobody likes fight, not even the spirit world. You avoid it wherever you can. Unfortunately, I've been in a spiritual battle with these people we're going now on 2 years. I will continue defending myself until the very last breath. That's the way that I'm built. That's just how it's gonna go. I think I know they're exhausted of having to deal with me and having to deal with this situation. And I don't think they were ready for what they walked into as far as I'm, as far as I'm concerned. I came into contact with these people through my ex. My ex was involved in some sort of business capacity with these people. I have my own assumptions, but he was involved in some sort of business capacity with these people. These people present themselves as, a place where it's a fun environment, a place where everybody's nice, a place where everybody takes care of everybody else, a place where, you get access to resources. So if there's someone who owns a bakery, you get a little bit of a discount on the bread. If there are people that work at Bell, then you'll get your internet for free. They'll just go ahead and set it up and wire you in, but it won't show as you're paying for any internet, which is what happened with our Oakville Place location. One person was tasked to come and another person came earlier, connected the internet. We had internet for free. We didn't even know. And by the time we were reporting the internet, they didn't even know that we had internet for free. It's an environment of criminals, and they commit criminal acts together for profit. It is a very lazy way of doing business, where essentially it's like the normal hustle and uphill build and grind that you have to go through with putting a business together, that really sort of strengthens you as a person, and it really molds you and, educates you and makes you stronger. You bypass that because you basically have people come in where somebody's going to do your renovations, somebody's going to do this, somebody's going to do that, and they're going to bring you customers. And it's artificial. It's an artificial environment because the customers you have don't necessarily buy into your brand and love your brand. They're not brand loyalists. They are essentially people that are keeping up a hoax. And so they have people who have Instagram profiles or create Instagram profiles where they're just there to like pictures and watch stories and like everything that you do. And so that's what they do all day, is they like posts. They don't see the post, they don't read the post, they don't care for the post, they just like posts. If it comes to, say, watching lives or doing any of that, they might just turn on the phone and walk away. Who knows how they're doing it, but they want to give you the sense that you're building something and you're not. They want to give you the sense that your business is stronger than it is and that you're more independent than you actually are. So that's one. So this is what happened to me in the beginning when I got in touch with my ex, is that there was this sense almost as if my business were advancing in some way, but everybody that was, and I noticed it. I noticed when I would put up an ad, I'd get hundreds of followers, which I know that's not how ads work. Like all kinds of little things were going this way. So I remember when this all started. As we got followers that we were not advertising to, and as our demographic of customers switched to a very Latin crowd, and when I started noticing that and being suspicious of that, it turned into everybody. I think John Ferreira has been working his fat knuckles to, just away, trying to constantly figure out ways to you know, continue to just cast illusions and create lies and make people think things that are not actually the way that they are. You know, after refusing to be a drug mule and them seeing that there was no possible way that they could convince me, they've disabled my engagement, they've contacted people that I'm supposed to be working with, and God knows what they've said. And now I've had to put posts on my profile advising people, you know, if you hear rumors about us, if people are contacting you saying things about us, etc., like, this is what we're going through. So it has been quite annoying. It's been ridiculous. On top of it, I think what they expect and the way that they build this thing is, say if they have 10 members and they're looking for an 11th, all 10 members take the resources that they have and they put it into the 11th person's pocket and convince the person that this is somewhere that they want to stay and somewhere that they want to be. And the 11th person is essentially supposed to come on board because they're going to say, hey, guaranteed I'm going to have 10 customers plus whatever else I can bring on my own. And so they come on board, they align themselves with these people. These people are putting money in their pocket. And then now they have 11 members, and now 11 members go out and put money in a 12th, 13th, and 14th person's pocket. So the money is not being generated off of growing a business organically. It is all fake. The likes are fake, the comments are fake, the engagement's fake, everything is fake. And so they put you in a situation where they can control the pipeline of your income at all times. So what that means is, if you start to dissent, if you start to disagree to things, if you start to say, well, I don't want to do this or that, as the 11th person, the 10 people stop putting money in your business. And so now you go from having an income as hair to having zero. And if there were outside people coming around, they get in the middle of that. They have your stuff hacked. They have you monitored. They have your friends monitored. They have your families monitored. They're dating people around you. They're friends with people around you. They're working with people around you. And they continue engaging your network until they have a ton of influence around you. And now you start having conflict with people. And they come in specifically to have conflict with you. So this is the situation that you find yourself in. Is one day you were making good money and the next day you're making nothing at all because it was all fake. It was all an illusion. Now, for me, I recognize this, what was going on, for quite some time. They had to push me out of the mall because the mall environment lends itself to you constantly having different customers and clientele all the time. So it's not like you're depending on those 10 people coming in. If they pull back, it doesn't matter. You're constantly going to have people coming in. On top of that, or in addition to that, I guess I should say, if it weren't bad enough that they want to pull away the business they have, they also know that you have savings. So what they try to do is to knock the savings out of your hands. You're constantly having people come around trying to sell you things that are not going to benefit you, knock money out of your hands. They're going to get in contact and bribe companies you may owe money, or just all kinds of things happen where they will make up scenarios to take away your savings. They will put you in a situation now that you don't have income coming in. You're going to have to look at selling your home, like I did. I had to look at selling my home, getting rid of my car, getting rid of all major expenses, or else I was going to lose them either way. So I had to be responsible about what I did. So this thing has taken hundreds and thousands of dollars out of my pocket, just in income that I make per year, in assets that I've lost, in all kinds of things, in relationships and partnerships that I should have had that have been tampered with. Not to even talk about the fallout with friendships, with personal relationships. It's been one thing after the other. So that is what it's like when John Ferreira comes into your life. You start getting sick. You start, on top of getting sick, you start losing money. You start losing friendships. You start having issues with people. Nothing good happens. John Ferreira literally, to me, is the representation of a devil. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's how I see him, because that's actually who he is and what he's about. That's who he is and what he's about. You know, I know a ton of people where I don't have to speak to them. I just know that they're going through quite a bit since they've aligned. I think the money's, I don't think I know the money's dirty. Anytime you're talking about drug money, or you're talking about, you know, money that was made off of the, you know, off of hurting people, off of, you know, enslaving people. And we're not talking just about like just hurting someone's feelings. We're not talking about just, you know, we're talking about drug money. This is drug money. This is money from selling drugs. This is probably money from murdering people. This money is dirty. This is not stuff you want to be involved in. And so one perspective that helps me, you know, not have an emotional fallout from it is because I know I shouldn't have this type of money in my business account anyway, on my books anyway. This is not something I would have aligned myself with had I known better, had I known what was going on. So I'm content with getting rid of it. If that's what, if this is the way that I have to get rid of it, I'm completely fine with that. I'm not the first nor the last who has had to contend with this. You know, I don't necessarily say I'm not going to be the last, because I do know that this guy is definitely not doing so well now. I'm a very spiritual person, and I pray, and my prayers get answered, you know. I've always kept myself very respectful of God and in alignment as well. So I think it's definitely worked to my benefit to not have the kind of karma on me that would have put me in a situation where I would have been nervous, you know, about what the outcome would be. I definitely know that I'm very lucky for the way that things are turning out for me. It has been bizarre. It has been bizarre. I know that the day is coming where I will get to sit down with people and really take like a deep dive into what this thing is, how it's working, and he'll have no way of interfering with it. He'll probably be locked up or otherwise, because justice does have to prevail. People, I believe, have been victim of this for far too long. People probably don't even know that they've been victim to this situation, you know. Unfortunately, he definitely tries to play with my engagement and not have these things come up, but you know, it is what it is. Even if it takes, you know, rumors and gossip, it goes by, it spreads really quickly. So even if it's just one person, two people that get wind of what's going on, that find out like, hey, this popular store, the owner of this store is getting gang stalked, eventually people are going to know, and people are going to navigate to the YouTube, and they're going to figure it out. And it's not something that people can keep quiet forever. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme. People join and they think that they're going to benefit from this situation, and then they don't. And they find out very quickly, like, you know, when they start seeing things that they're not in agreement with, and they start seeing things that don't make sense to them, and they start getting worried, you know, the same thing happens to them. It's unfortunate because, you know, in the case of my ex, I told him from day one, I was like, listen, something odd is going on around here. And my ex is, you know, at the time was not very spiritual. And I said to him, I'm like, there's baneful magic going on here. There's something dark going on here. And, you know, he went back and told them, obviously, and that, you know, made me a target with them. They became very nervous about me and about me knowing what was going on, and then it made me a target. They wanted to eliminate me and get rid of me because they didn't want this information coming out. You know, my condolences to him. I hope he's doing okay. I know for a fact he's not. I know for a fact he's not. I've had to suffer through seeing people suffer through things they were warned about. You know, every single last one of my friends, I said to them, I'm being gang stalked and this is what's happening. Every single last one. And every single last one succumbed to the same thing. And when they started getting gang stalked, I started seeing them come around with anxiety in their face. I started seeing them being scared because they didn't take me seriously. They just didn't listen. I no longer get like incredibly frustrated about that. I think everybody has their own path to walk, and he who does not listen will learn. You'll feel it. And you know me, why I learn very quickly, because I don't like feeling it. Been there, done that. I don't like feeling anything. I want to learn. In this process, I've been forced to learn all my lessons really quickly. This is how you get out of sticky situations spiritually, because you're in cycles. You have to learn the lessons. There's no going around learning a lesson. The universe will simply not allow it. So if you're being gang stalked right now and you're wondering, why is this happening? Well, you need to learn some lessons. There's some things that you need to learn. And if you're like me, you're going to try to learn them as fast as possible. Every single thing that's happening, you're going to ask yourself, like, what can I learn about this? Like, what is God trying to tell me? And you're going to learn it. You're going to see the patterns. You're going to figure it out, because God does not teach you by handing you a booklet. You know, one of the things that these people have been very jealous of is a particular breed of us get downloads, and they realize that they don't get downloads, and so it makes it difficult to create, or you're really leaning on your own understanding. And that's one of the things the Bible talks about, is like not leaning on your own understanding, leaning on God. But when you're tapped out of God, you don't get downloads. But it's like God doesn't teach through downloads. That's not what downloads are for. Downloads are not something that you're getting 24/7 every single day. Like it's not what the purpose of a download. You really have to learn on the ground running. You have to pay attention to everything that's going on and what the universe is trying to say to you. And then you have to implement it immediately. And then you get tested on it right away. And you have to consistently be in a space where you're teachable. And I think one of the reasons why, well, not one of the reasons, the main reason why, this man's life continues to go downhill, him and everybody he's aligned with, and everybody that he works with, and everybody that he's paid or bribed, is because nobody is learning lessons, because these are lessons they don't want to learn. And so the way it works is, once the cycle is there, it's not infinite times to learn the lesson. It gets harder and harder until you expire. But you don't get to move on. You get binded to the cycle until you learn the lessons in order to get out of it. So it is a situation of rot, which I've spoken about in some of my other videos, where it's the death card reversed. It's a situation that the cycle is not moving. The Wheel of Fortune never gets to continue turning, where it turns in your favor at any point. So if you don't learn your lessons, it stays in an upside down position, what we call reverse, forever. And you cannot stay in an upside down situation forever. It's supposed to turn. So if it takes you whatever it takes for it to turn, it's going to turn. And if it takes for people to really suffer, then that's what happens. When you're being gang stalked, you have to look past a lot of things. You have to constantly be in a situation where you're exercising your patience, and you're not having an emotional fallout over everything. You're not finding yourself at a point where little things are annoying you. You just kind of take things in stride. One of my biggest things has just been like releasing control and allowing God to do it. And that's why my YouTube is called God's Way. And just a fun story about why my YouTube is called God's Way. In the beginning, where he tried to hack my Instagram and take my Instagram over, and I got my Instagram back, there was a page. He had me logged into this page called No Way. And it didn't say No Way Out, but it said No Way 1019. And then I took the Instagram from him, changed the password, called it God's Way 1019. And then I still got my own Instagram back, and I had, custody of both of those Instagram accounts. And it's been God's way ever since, because things happen God's way in my life. I gave my life to God a while back, and God has everything under control. And so anybody who comes in to try to have issues with me doesn't have issues with me. They have issues with God. People trying to take over my life and play God in my life have to fight God for me. It's not a position that I personally would have put myself in. But if somebody thinks that they're comparable to God or stronger than God even, all I'm going to do is sit back and watch, right? I think for a lot of us that are going through gang stalking, if you really take your time, you can learn a lot from the experience. I constantly say that this is not an experience I believe is supposed to break you. It's a cycle. I see people that are in that cycle that are 2 and 3 years deep, and when I try to give them advice on how to come out of the cycle and things that they can do, they completely refuse me. I see a lot of Christians in the cycle. I see some that have done really well, and they get it. I can see that they know what they're talking about. And then I also see people that if I were to give them spiritual advice, they wouldn't take it anyway. And it's very sad to see someone suffer because they just have a position that they just don't believe in something. So, it is what it is. And, I always say it costs what it costs. You have to learn your own lessons, and you have to figure things out on your own in life. That's how it goes. That's how it goes for all of us. We have to figure out what we have to figure out. So gang stalking is going to take as long as it takes. And for gang stalkers, they're going to go through what they're going to go through. Let me tell you, one of the restaurants that was right beside us, people have been going through karmic lessons, and they've been going through bad luck, and they've had no idea why for a while. One of the restaurants that was beside us in the last location that we were at, these people have no business, on top of the fact that they have to pay rent in a location, and they're just not making anything. The other members in the cult are not doing well. These people are no longer in a situation where they can throw money around in the way that they used to. And coming in under John Ferreira, being recruited under John Ferreira is terrifying, because I feel like if John Ferreira even walks past you 100 meters away, you're going to catch some of the karma from him. That's how bad it is, just by association. So, it is not a fun situation, I'm going to say, for all who are involved. I think it's a very terrifying situation for John Ferreira himself. I think he's keeping up a brave face when in fact he's terrified out of his mind. He doesn't know what to do. He knows that every move he makes is a wrong move. I don't know why it's taken so long to figure that out. But it is what it is. Everything is in God's hands, and like I said, everything goes God's way. And sometimes it takes this type of brutal, aggressive beating for a person to realize, like, it is actually God's way. I think that if he were to step back and be very honest with himself, he would realize that this wasn't a normal recruitment. And I've been saying for a while that this was a setup. Spiritually, this was a situation that was meant to get him out of here. And, hopefully he sees that. But if he doesn't, it's no fallout with me. I have been kept safe in the situation. But also I've learned my lessons very quickly. And when God has put something in my face, I've taken it seriously. I'm not one of those people God needs to convince or God needs to tell why something needs to happen. Because a lot of the times, I'm going to tell you, God tells you last minute for a reason. If you are supposed to ascend by January 1st, God is not going to tell you in September that you're supposed to ascend by January 1st. God's going to tell you by December 28th, December 29th at like 11:59. Go do this. And when you do it, By January 1st, you ascend. At 12:01 a.m., you ascend. But if you don't, then you miss that boat. And that means the cycle has to start again. So you got to listen to your intuition. You got to listen to your better judgment. You got to listen to, how you're being guided. And that can't come from a space of ego. And if you're at a space where you cannot differentiate between your ego and between reality, then you're obviously in a very poor position. Like right now, I've been on live for 30 minutes and like almost no one's joined the live. So there's a lot of manipulation on my account, but again, it's just one of those things where I could easily get upset and I could be like frustrated about it and be like, God, this is ridiculous. Why? But I've been in this thing long enough to trust divine timing and know that everything happens for a reason. And we are focused on winning a war, not winning small petty battles. So if it does take for it to come to bad engagement for a bit, then it is what it is, compared to what else it could be, right? That being the case, I want to kind of go into some stuff for my YouTube followers. I hope what I'm saying resonates. I know my situation is very specific because I was being recruited to be a drug mule, and that is a very, very specific situation. However, I want to just share some best practices for the end of this video that I'm going to keep sharing because I feel like people do need to know. And I'm going to kind of go through them really quickly. I have a whole video on my page. I might link it when I post this, about best practices that you should be thinking about as far as going through this drug mule situation. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna move my light because I feel like there's some very frustrating activity as far as the lighting on my videos, and I'm not happy about it. My video looks very dark. I don't know how they find this manipulation to the videos. I'm sure this man at night goes ahead and Googles just to get the video lighting to be bad. It's like if he can't stop me from being on the video, then he's gonna make the video dark. So please, I do apologize. It's silly stuff. I don't let myself get frustrated about stuff like this because working in retail, you have to deal with women and you have to deal with a lot of childlike behavior. So it's not out of the scope of what I've had to acclimatize to. It's like having a toddler. Anyway, so best practices. Fear. Your fear is optional. Please don't make your fear mandatory, okay? One of the first things that God told me about this situation is that I do not have to fear this situation. And I found nothing to be, this is even worse. I found nothing to be more true. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen irregardless, okay? It's going to happen regardless. Okay, so there. Whatever is happening is going to happen one way or the other. Nope, doesn't help. Whatever is happening is going to happen one way or the other. It's not something that you can stop. A cycle is a cycle. A cycle is something that needs to be endured. It is what it is. You operating out of a space of fear puts your body in constant fight or flight mode. And so you don't make very good decisions. You don't make very, you're not able to process things as reality. You constantly find yourself in a fog. So fear is an option that you do not need. Okay, take it completely off and operate from a space of being bold and being empowered. You are in high school, in a high school situation where people are just being childish and they're fighting for your attention. Your attention is also an option that you don't need to give people. It's very expensive to get people's attention. So please walk away from giving people your attention all the time. Are cars following you? Are everybody wearing a particular color? Are they all honking at you? Is it sound stuff? You're absolutely being gang stalked. This is absolutely happening and you don't need to prove it to anyone. People know what's happening. Walk away from giving anyone your attention. It is what it is. I always say you're going to feel a lot of anxiety attacks. that is not yours, especially if you're not in a situation that's anxiety inducing. So if you're not in a situation where you have much to worry about, I would not find myself having anxiety attacks. Okay, this is outside of you. These anxiety attacks are outside of you, especially if you're not in a situation where you know requires anxiety. So please do let it go. Okay, I used to enjoy actually getting the anxiety attacks because it kept me regular. And it's one of those things where I say it is spell work. Now, people going through gang stalking, they know the particular very odd, weird things that are going on, and so they get it. So gang stalking victims and survivors know what I'm talking about. That you're just gonna get anxiety that doesn't make sense. I used to get anxiety attacks, particularly every morning during meditation, and I liked it because it kept me regular, and I would just go to the washroom. And I'll tell you, had I had to depend on myself, that probably wouldn't happen for me. But every time I got an anxiety attack, I was like, oh, okay, great. Now I'm going to get a flat stomach, clear skin, etc., etc. So it was very helpful. It wasn't something that I wanted to announce. They've stopped now. It wasn't something that I've wanted to announce, and I wouldn't have announced it unless they stopped because, again, I liked having it. I didn't feel it as anxiety. In the beginning, I felt as anxiety. It was a weird thing. It didn't quite feel like anxiety, but it was something where it was like, I get to be regular, and then I also get to transmute this energy because it is energy that comes towards you, and you get to use that energy towards, whatever it is that you are needing for the day to get done, right? Sage, I advocate for the use of sage because it is going to keep your environment very clean. This is what sage looks like. This is what a sage, but I've already started it on it. But this is what a bundle of sage looks like. I burn it all the time. I keep my space very pure, very clean, because I believe that prevention is better than cure. And you definitely don't want to find yourself in a space where you're in a place where your space is so dirty that you need more than sage, because there are times where they do send energies to you. It's not just energy as in spell work, but they'll send like entities to you and such. You got to keep your environment in a state where it is not very conducive to dark energies. Okay, it's not very comfortable for dark energies. So I recommend sage. I would sage twice a day. I would sage, I guess not in the morning if you're going to leave and go to work. But definitely you want to keep your space. If you're at home, you want to keep your space clean. And definitely at night, like you want to sage a whole lot at night. You want to clean your space out. That is what is going to help you have a good night's sleep. In addition to having a good night's sleep, you can I would play scriptures, passages reading the Bible, that are going to, again, be uncomfortable for negative energy around you. I play all kinds of music from all kinds of like deities, gods that I align with. So whether that be God the Father, whether that be other deities, whatever, meditation music, relaxing music, whatever it is that resonates with you, and whatever it is that naturally feels good. I use crystals. Crystals are extremely powerful little stones that can fix your life. I mean, you gotta do more than just wear crystals, but I use crystals. If you're going to be wearing crystals on your left hand, you need to protect yourself on your left hand. Okay? So that is where you put protection crystals. So that's your obsidian, your tourmaline, your tiger's eye, etc., etc. Personally, I find tiger's eye to be the weakest of all the protection stones, but that's just my personal experience. I would go for an obsidian. And you can double up on protection stones. Also, things like rose quartz can be protection as well. Any super high vibrational stone is a protection stone. So it's not just obsidian. They will protect you, but they will protect you in a very specific way if they're not obsidian. Obsidian is something that just blocks everything that's dark. On your right hand are the stones that are going to align you to your higher self. So on your right hand, you definitely want things for your higher chakras. So things for the heart chakra would be like rose quartz, amethyst. Anything that strengthens love in your life is a protective energy, and it's an energy that separates you from lower energies, which again makes it a protective energy. Throat crystals that resonate with your throat chakra. Actually, all the chakras you could do on your right side. Obviously, crown chakra, very important. Heart, very important. Throat, very important. So just look into it. I don't like to tell people what crystals to wear. I mean, if you come in and you say I have this particular product or problem, someone can recommend crystals for you. But I just feel like it's something that calls to you. The crystals call to you, and then you kind of figure out what you want from there. I talk about salt all the time. Salt is a purifying element. It is very, very useful to help protect yourself spiritually. So salt baths are very important. You want it salty like the ocean, where you can taste that it's salty. You want salt baths. You want to meditate in water. You want to just do that at least once a week. Very important. Especially if you're going through something like gang stalking. These are things that are very, very basic. But these are things that are going to help continue to put serenity in your life, put peace in your life. And you want to combat the anxiety, and you want to combat all the depression and the negative thoughts that constantly are coming your way. Just the negative energy that constantly is coming your way as well. You also want to salt your home. That stops negative energy from coming in. So you're going to salt the perimeter of your home, but you're also going to windows, all doors, all openings, all passageways. You're going to salt your home. And you're going to need to, and it's a lot of work because you need to change this salt frequently. And not only do you want to change the salt frequently, you'll be able to tell when it's time to change the salt, because the salt is going to change. Now, if you have an energy like what I've been dealing with that's very persistent, they'll cross the salt. They'll go through the pain that they need to cross the salt. The good thing about that is you weaken your enemy over time. You weaken them spiritually, you weaken their spiritual gifts, and you weaken their protection, because their protection doesn't cross with them. They're going to have to cross alone. And you know, over time, you're going to see that the attacks get weaker and weaker and weaker. And like, I mean, the attacks that I face right now are not even worth acknowledging. Like, it's just, a lot of the times I don't even notice it. It's people that practice baneful magic that have never been in warfare. They've never been in spiritual warfare, so they don't know what to do. They don't know that they're expending their energy and giving of their energy and donating their gifts. They don't know that what they're sacrificing is their gifts, that their gifts are going to be taken in that process and absorbed by the person that they're fighting with. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. They would understand what a risk it is. And they felt that they were being bullies, but they didn't understand that there was strategy. When two dark people fight together, they just sling mud back and forth. But when they fight with the light, they don't know how it works. They don't understand anything that we do, and they really do feel that love is weakness, that kindness is weakness, and they lose every single time because they don't understand. It's like not understanding 50% of the world, and that's just way too huge of a percentage to not understand. So as you remain in the light, as you remain in a state of not having horrible karma, you will see what I'm talking about. So all you have to do is stand down and protect yourself and send energy back. And that's really all you have to do, and just endure it. Eventually people take themselves out with the things that they send at you. And that's exactly the situation that I'm in right now. And they're probably trying to rejuvenate, and they're probably trying to recoup just to do the same thing again, to donate more energy, a gust of energy, to have some sort of coordinated attack. And really all I have to do is just to prepare to catch all of that energy and put it to good use. We're not dealing with smart people here. Add plants to your home, because plants are alive. Plants absorb energy. Plants will help transmute a lot of the energy that's coming into your home. So add fresh plants to your house, to your home. Pets are very good because they help you with your mental health, especially being isolated at this time. It's an outlet for you to give love to. Also, they are very sensitive to energy, so you're going to notice as they act up, you're going to notice that things are not right. It's going to give you indication that there's energy around you that you do need to clean up, and then you can use your sage to clean up energy at times outside of your normal times, like I said, twice a day, where you can clean up again. I personally have sage running all the time because I'm just, that's the type of person that I am. I like it. It's very purifying, but also I've been under attack around the clock for a very long time. So it's just something that I just always have going. Prayer is very important. Prayer is how you connect to God. I would go ahead and pray twice a day at a very minimum. Prayer does not have to be super formal. Prayer can literally just be you talking to God exactly in the same way that I'm talking to you right now, but twice a day, and you meditate twice a day as well. And this is something that you absolutely have to do. You have to continue to connecting to God. You cannot think that you're just going to wake up and on your own understanding, you're just going to walk around and do what you want. Connecting to God helps you. And like I said, you don't need to hear a physical voice in your head to know that you're connecting with God. It literally can just be God guides you to someone's channel. God guides you to go somewhere, talk to someone, look at something, and then you get help. And slowly but slowly, it builds up your knowledge. I burn incense constantly, so you can use things like dragon's blood, go away evil. There are infinite amounts of incense. You just choose one. It doesn't really matter. It's the smoke that matters. Okay. Stay away from, now this is mine, this is personal, stay away from therapists and mental health drugs at this time. These people are trying to drive you mad. They're trying to get paid for the jobs that they're doing. I would stay away from it. I would heal naturally. I would invest the time in breathing exercises, meditating, journaling, thinking about where you want to go with your life, what you're not doing right, what lessons you have to learn, what, your life is being slowed down in a sense. And, that's how I would heal personally. Eat whole foods, go for nature walks, go near water, get a lot of water in, try to have a good sleep routine, sleep at appropriate times. I burn white candles. They're for purity, healing, and connecting to higher energies. Don't blow out your candles. Let them burn all the way down. So please choose an appropriate time to light the candle. Try not to light candles at night unless you are prepared to keep candles lit overnight. You don't want candles to be in a situation where they're hot. You want them to be in water, etc., etc. Don't blow out your candles. If you're taking baths often enough, then your crystals are being cleaned as they're on your hand often enough. If you're not taking baths often enough, then you have to clean the crystals. Please go ahead and Google how to do that. You can put the crystals in salt. You can sage the crystals. You can charge them in the full moon, whatever it is that, works out for you. As far as being social, you can slowly but surely connect to people online. I wouldn't do too much in-person interaction if I were you. There's a whole gang stalking community where you can, on every single platform, where you can go ahead and you can get information as to what this thing is, what's happening to you, and how you can move forward with your life. Balance your spiritual side with reality. You don't want to be overly spiritual and you don't want to be overly realistic. You need both, and you need them at a good balance. You need to figure out what's going on with you in your world spiritually. And the spiritual knowledge helps you understand how you can physically disentangle yourself from what you're going on with. The way that I figured out what I need to do is through spiritual knowledge. This and this and this is happening. And it's not stuff that's going to be verbatim. You really need to be able to interpret what the information that's coming to you. So if these 5 things are happening, then what do I need to do on a physical plane in order to walk away? And it is very effective, and it's very important to understand the situation that you're in and how you get out of your situation and how you gain momentum. But you got to do half of the work. Like, God cannot do 100% of the work for you, right? Update your police reports daily, 10 minutes a day. What happened today? Who came around? And sometimes you're not going to have a lot of things to update, but you're just going to go ahead and continue to validate patterns of behavior, validate things that you think are happening, validate people that you may be suspicious of. And that's how you get out of this situation, is by learning very quickly, like, you know, who does what and what they might be doing it for and why they're doing it, etc., etc. So updating the reports daily truly helps. And finally, tell your story, put your face out there. I know since I've come online on YouTube, more people have started telling their story. I've become very engaged, and I find out more and more about these people all the time. These people are an inspiration to me. I think gang stalking victims are the strongest people out there. I love this community, like, deeply. I feel saddened when I hear some of the stories, as if I haven't gone through the same thing myself. I totally have. But it's good for us to get our stories out there. We all come together, we share everything, and we kind of figure out, like, what's going on. Why are they doing that? Okay, this is not just happening to you, etc., etc. So please share your story, and not just give advice for other people, but also just share your story, like what happened to you, how this happened. People want to know. It feels like nobody cares, but people totally want to know. I want to know. I want to know, because your story helps me. No matter how far in my journey I've come, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's what this is. So we continue to share stories, and it helps you be social. It helps you see the world for what it is, that everybody's not gang stalkers. There's a community out there for you. These people are loving. You know, it's a very kind place, and all of us instantly can tell when somebody doesn't belong. We can sniff them out, you know, and we gatekeep. It is what it is. We're all we have, right? Above all, please be thankful for everything. Be thankful for everything. Your situation can always be worse, and I've seen that in the nightmare that I've seen my gang stalker face. I tell you what, I would prefer to be gang stalked 1,000,000 times over than to be wanted by the cartel. The cartel is everywhere, and they have their hands in every pocket, including governmental, okay? I would prefer to be stalked by John Ferreira, harassed by John Ferreira 1,000,000 times over, than to owe the cartel money. It's not easy. So he has his work cut out for him. It can always be worse. You can always be in a bigger nightmare. So please, please, please don't think, woe is me. Learn lessons from this. And you're going to emerge one day, and you're going to be the best version of yourself. You're going to be incredibly strong. You're going to be built like a tank. I want to share some of my cards, my Spirit Oracle cards, before I go. I pulled some before for myself, and I just thought I would share them. So I'm going to read them really quickly. Excuse me, the first one. Count all of your blessings, even the small ones. Show gratitude and appreciation for all that you have in your life and all that has yet to come into it. Your best days are still ahead of you. Isn't that a wonderful thought? You are not moving too slowly. Drop the self-induced pressure. You are at the sweet spot between taking care of yourself and still making advancements on your goals. That's a huge one for me, because I want to hurry up and rush. But in that rushing, I miss a lot of things. So I'm grateful to take things a lot slower. On this path, there's no such thing as being behind. Smile, breathe, and carry on, because everything happens in divine timing. It happens in the way that it's supposed to. Sometimes walking away is the only option, not because you want to make someone miss you or realize they took you for granted, but because you finally respect yourself enough to know that you deserve better. And lastly, make sure you don't start seeing yourself through the eyes of those who don't value you. You need to know your worth, even when others don't. You are not what people think of you. You get to decide who you are. You know, just because somebody says you're worthless, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, you're whatever, it doesn't mean that's who you are. I think it really helps when you understand that people project on you for a very specific reason. So you get to take care of yourself and you get to do the very best that you can. And this deck that I have, I threw out the box, I forget the name of it, but I love it. It gives me advice. The mortality card. Life is brief, bright, beautiful, and yours to live. And it's so crazy. It says life is brief, bright, beautiful, and yours to live. So regardless of the fact that you're getting gang stalked right now, you absolutely have to find a way to enjoy your life. You have to enjoy moments of your life at all times. You cannot be in a point where you allow yourself to be so beaten down and so hurt every single day that you look back on a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of your life and it was complete hell. You must find happiness in small things. No need to fear. Remember how powerful you are. No need to fear. Remember how powerful you are. Your words are powerful. Telling your story is powerful. Outing someone is powerful. Talking about what you've gone through is powerful, and it's what people are afraid of. So please do not leave yourself as a victim or in victim mode 24/7. Find the lesson. Discover the purpose in a situation. Trust that you are learning. Every single day there's a new lesson. I've just started to learn that everywhere I go and everything I do has been done for a reason. When the time is right, all those lessons are going to benefit me. And right now, all of those things are the things that are benefiting me. And I must learn those lessons in order to get the blessings that I need to get. So everything is a lesson. When you go outside and you notice patterns and you notice people and you notice this and that and things that are going on, it is a lesson and it's going to help you one day. So collect them like infinity stones. Belong to your own dream. Create your own life. It's yours. It's yours to create. Things were going my way regardless of being deep in gang stalking. Regardless of people trying to step in my way, and I know it was incredibly frustrating for them. Things continued to go my way. Okay, what is supposed to be for you is going to be for you regardless. You keep trying, you keep pushing. If you're trying to build a business and it's taking longer, it's fine. It's taking longer for a reason. God knows when it's going to stop. And believe me, when it's going to stop, it just stops like this. It is the craziest thing. You endured for the longest time, and you ask God, like, how is it going to happen? When? Give me a vision, show me. And then all of a sudden it just stops. And you're like, whoa. All of a sudden you're just walking around by yourself and there's nobody there. And you have peace. And I know it's going to happen for every single one of us because no one's going to gang stalk you forever. And that's something that even the police have said to me. No one is going to gang stalk you forever. Take hope in that. They just don't have the funding for it. It's not beneficial. I promise you it is going to end. Use this experience to your advantage. Learn as many things as possible. See how strong you are and close your cycle. I want to send love to everybody. Any questions you want to ask in my YouTube comments, I'm open to, responding to. And, as long as I feel that you're a normal person, thank you guys for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day, and I will be back tomorrow.